everyone and welcome guys to the start of a brand new series on the channel, and we're here for more league racing today, and here to actually start off with a completely new league that I've decided that I would join, and that is Vision Gaming Network. Now, something very different to what I have done before, and the main reason that I decided to join this league was actually their British Touring Car Series. Now, I'm going to run through this quali lap. This was my best qualifying lap of the session, if I'm not mistaken. But I think, more than talking about the lap, I want to explain the rules of this series, because this is really where I was hooked and sort of like why I decided to join. Now, they run a very odd process in this league. Like, all the cars are near enough equal. Obviously, Brands Hatch is not really a BMW track, as it is the only rear-wheel drive car. But if you finish in the top 3 in the first race, then you have 5% less power and 5% less grip for the second race of the evening. Now, obviously, that means that you get a lot more compactment between all the drivers in terms of raw pace. Now, obviously, you expect those guys to fall down the order a bit during the second race, but there is one quick stop in the second race of the evening, just to sort of change it around a little bit, give it a little bit more flexibility. And then the top 3 from the second race will end up with a 5% ballast and power grip. A 5% grip loss and a 5% power loss going into the third race of the evening. The guys that had a loss in the second race go back to normal, so obviously they're given equal cars again. Now, obviously, that's only for the first round of the season. After that, the top 3 in the standings have grip and power loss of 5% for the first race of the next evening, and then the whole series just continues on as normal overall. So, it was a really interesting series by the base of it, and I was really interested to have a look in and obviously see what I can do, but I hadn't really, I say how excited I was, I forgot to sign up until an hour before the first race of the season, so I really hadn't ran that many laps, and that left me up, I think by the end of the session, 31.3 put me second at the time, but by the end of the session I was a lot further down the order there. But Tiger Woo's on pole with HCR Cerberus in P2, LER Vision Thing up in P3 on the grid with Wookie 2002 in P4, HCR Noodle in another BMW there, P5, a name you might recognise around the community. Matty Bolton, my teammate, who you might know from Motorcast, is in P6, just ahead of myself. He was 8 thousandths quicker than me. Captain Mannering there in P8 with VGN Mauler P9, and then we've got Mclaren 30 in P10 there, and then we have got a Big White Donk 87 P11, just outside the top 10 there. LER Sticks in P12 in that Mercedes. Rally Cap 5000 in, once again, another Audi there. Stijman 7767 in P14 there. P-Frix in P15 there. Orin Ishii BE in 16th, and then to round out the field we have got Mclaren, we have got Riot CX, and then to round out, last but definitely not least, the Bin. So there we are then, that is the grid for the first round of the season, guys. Really looking forward, and hopefully I can have a strong race, but it's lights out, and away we go, and the BMW rear-wheel drive that should give me a lot of help down towards someone. You can see Wookie is already losing a couple of positions as we make the run down towards someone there. Down the inside of my teammate there, unfortunately I just clipped the curb, but I managed to able to slot out just ahead of him there. So up to P6 I go in the early stages of the race there. We've got Noodle and Wookie still going side by side. I tried to have a look up the inside of Wookie there, but just look at the grip of that front wheel drive as you come out the corner. It's got so much more pulling power. I think the description is absolutely right. It's like racing against a steam engine. But now skipping on further on towards the end of lap 1 here, and Noodle and Wookie are still fighting. I tried to think about going for a move up the inside of Noodle there, but unfortunately not going to be able to make that stick, and I'm just going to try and take the racing line there. Noodle runs deep, puts Wookie now over the grass and into the sand trap there, but I'm able to slip by the pair of them there. So up to P4 I go already in this race. If I could hold on to this position, that would leave me very strong, but a couple of laps later, Noodle trying to have a look down the inside there. I just squeeze him out over the curves there, so started to defend my position, but down towards the line, he's got slightly longer gears than myself here. Tuning is fully allowed, as long as you stick to the correct car upgrades, as Noodle's going to dive it down the inside. I tried to go for a bit of an undercut there, but unfortunately he just about gets his car to park alongside there. I'm going to have a look down the inside into the hairpin there. He tries to squeeze me a little bit there, and unfortunately I just tack the curbs just a little bit too much there, and unfortunately Noodle therefore is going to be able to keep that position there for now in this first race of the evening there, but I'm still going to be happy with P5 overall, considering I think I'd done about 5 laps worth of practice there. But skipping on now, midway around lap 6, and Noodle is just pulling away a little bit of a gap from me at this moment in time, and that is not exactly what I needed. As you can see, coming into the second sector though, and unfortunately I just dab a wheel on the grass there, and that's going to mean I lose a handful of positions. Wookie goes through, Captain Mannering goes through, as well as my teammate Matty Bolton. So unfortunately I'm basically down to where I began there. Not exactly ideal, in fact I've lost a position overall in comparison to where I started there, but we got VGN. I can't actually remember his name, I can't unfortunately see it on the small preview there, but we got one of the VGN guys who's piling on the pressure. Mauler there, in fact, I could just see him as he rams me up the chuff is what he did there. But, you know, I think, you know, it's touring cars, it's allowed entirely. But skipping on now to lap 10, and we're closing in still ever so slightly on my teammate Matty Bolton as we come through the second sector of the lap, and he might cause he might be the next person to be punished by these corners, but, you know, just coming through in towards the final sector. You know, I'm feeling still pretty confident on this track, you know, in this car, because in that little practice I'd done, you know, I wasn't really that far off the pace. Plus, this isn't really a BMW circuit, so, you know, it wasn't leaving me in the best position there. But Matty runs wide through the final corner there. Unfortunately, that is going to lose him a handful of positions, but that takes me back up to my original grid slot there as we come through the final corner of the final lap, and I am able to take home at P7 in the first race of the evening there. Very happy with that, you know, just held on to my position, and obviously without that ballast or power loss, you know, I could be looking very, very strong come the second race. But just having a look then, Tigger Woo absolutely stomped the field there with HCR Cerberus second. LER Vision Thing, you know, those three guys will be having the ballast as we move into the second race of the evening there, guys. But on the random grid, I started at P5 there, so, you know, it's a little bit further up than in the first race there. But HCR Noodle instantly trying to have a look between the pair of them there, you know, with that no grip loss down towards someone there. Tigger Woo runs ever so slightly wide into Cerberus there, but I'm able to get past Vision Thing. So up to P5 I go. We've got Wookie trying to have a look down the inside there, but I break ever so slightly later than him. Between Cerberus now and Tigger Woo, I make a little bit of contact with the pair of them there as Cerberus tried to turn into the corner. But we've moved up into P3 there already in this race as Tigger Woo now just a little bit up ahead of me there, but he gets caught over the horrible slight auto spin curb there. Unfortunately, that's going to lose him a bit of time, so I'm just going to try and take a bit of an alternate line through in towards the second sector here. And Tigger Woo going to run over the curbs, and unfortunately there, that's not going to give him the run he wanted or needed there, especially with that 5% power loss. We're going to be able to run right around his outside, down towards the next corner there, and up to P2 I go in this race. And, you know, this race, with those guys with the power and ballast loss, you know, it was basically, at this moment in time, a bit more between a Noodle and like for the lead of the race. But as we skip on to my pit stop on the end of lap 9, you know, we closed down the gap to Noodle quite a lot, but unfortunately, you know, we weren't able to get right enough close to him just yet in this race. You know, hopefully, as we skip on to the next laps, we were able to, you know, we were sort of really losing a lot of time here. We have Wookie just behind me now, piling on the pressure on the final lap of the race. But you can just see that up the road, Noodle has made a huge mistake there. Not really too sure what happened to him there. He just dipped a wheel on the grass, and that is going to mean on this final lap of the race, I'm going to be all over Noodle here. And, you know, we could potentially be looking at our first win of the series there. And, you know, considering the, you know, high reputation of some of the drivers here, you know, I'd be very, very happy with that. But coming now down through the second sector, and really on the outside here, not exactly ideal. You know, if we can try and force Noodle a little bit to the inside there, you know, maybe he could botch up his run ever so slightly. Going to downshift to 4 to try and give myself ever so slightly better drive, but Noodle has taken a better run through there, coming through in towards the final sector. We're all over the curbs, all over the back of Noodle, and are we going to be able to do anything down in towards the final few corners of this race? He takes a much better line, attacking the curbs there, and down in towards the second to last corner there. He's completely missed the apex, which is going to put me right on his rear end again, and, you know, down into the widest of the final corner. I'm going to try to dummy to go down to the inside, but Noodle taking absolutely nothing from it there as I move back over to the racing line there. Unfortunately, Noodle is able to come through to take home the race of victory there. I'm going to come through P2, just 1/10 of a second behind him there. And, you know, unfortunately, you know, Noodle didn't make a big enough mistake for me to be able to move my way through. But, you know, considering that if I had won, it would have basically just been his bottle that won me the race. You know, I wouldn't have been too happy with that either there. But GG to Noodle after a very, very close second race of the evening there. Wookie comes P3 there with Tiger Woo, even with all that ballast, still able to come through in P4. The Chevy Cruze looking very, very strong, guys. But on to the final race of the day. P5 once again on the grid, but now we've obviously got all that ballast. But against the front wheel drives, you know, we still get off to a brilliant start. They're trying to thread my way through the first of the front wheel drives. They're down towards turn 1 there. And we're trying to have a look around the outside of Wookie 2002. He's going to try and now line up a move down the inside of HCR Noodle, and unfortunately for him, he's not going to be able to make that stick there as Noodle just about shuts the door. So I'm trying to have a look right around his outside here. Going to have the inside down in towards the next corner there. We're just going to try and squeeze him out a little bit wide over the curbs there, and hopefully we could make this position stick there. But Wookie, with even on the grass there, you know, that Chevy Cruze has still got very, very good grip. But I dive it down the inside into the next corner there, and now I move up into P2 of the races. You know, we've got myself and Noodle leading the way, even though we've got our ballast on the car, which, you know, it's for us to, you know, this race probably won't be ideal. This BMW, especially around this track, really does struggle with the ballast and the power disadvantage there. But coming through now, we got Wookie in that Chevy. Even though he's got ballast, you know, that Chevy Cruze really doesn't suffer as much there as he dives it down the inside in towards turn 3 there. I tried to go for the switchback move, but he parks it on the apex there, hold on to the position. But you can just see there how much of a better run he does get now, as we're under pressure from LER Vision thing. He's now going to try and have a look around my outside, and you can just see how much difference that 5% power really does give him as he comes through into the final corner there. He runs a little bit deep, so I'm now going to try and have a look back up the inside there. Wookie now, as you may have just seen up the road, has been able to take the lead of the race there. But down in towards turn 1 there, Vision thing gets just about past me there. He tries to park it on my front quarter panel there, but we were taking a little bit too much curb there, ended up taking a really botched up run through turn 1 there. But fortunately for me, don't lose out on too much time. Wookie and Noodle still fighting right at the very front of the field, so, you know, as now LER Vision thing is going to try and take advantage of that down the inside into the next corner there. Unfortunately for him, not able to make that work, but he's all over the place. I tried to make a move on him, but accidentally completely blocked bin there through sector 1 there, you know. Unfortunately for him, you know, but we were trying to avoid a Vision thing there as he was all over the shop. But now coming through in towards the end of lap 3, Noodle has now been jumped by Vision thing. You know, we might try and line up a move here, but we've got Bin trying to pile on the pressure on towards me, down in towards the final corner. What's he going to be able to do there? We're going to try and squeeze him a little bit over the curbs, a little bit of contact's made, as, you know, he sort of barges his way through there. You know, great touring car action as Rai CX is going to be able to move through as well there, and everyone, just absolutely everyone. Now we've got Tiger Woo trying to line up a move down the inside in towards turn 1 there. Is he going to be able to make the position? Unfortunately, a little bit of contact is made, and we do hold on to P6 for now. But this is just, you know, the racing you want to be seen. We've got everyone trying to pile on the moves. Unfortunately for me, it's resulting in me going backwards, but, you know, for how much fun this really is, you know, I'm not really complaining too much there. But Tiger Woo dives it down the inside in towards the next corner there. We've got Cerberus barging me in the rear to try and make a position up as well there. Unfortunately for him, he is not able to get through just yet, and we're still holding on for now to P7 in the race now. We were P2 just 2 laps ago, and, you know, this BMW with this little grip and ballast, power, I must say, you know, it was really, really struggling there. Cerberus now gonna have a look down way inside in towards the next corner there, and he now moves up to P7 in the race there. So not exactly ideal for me there, but, you know, I'm still really, really enjoying the great racing so far. But skipping on a couple of laps later, and there's actually been a little bit of an incident, so I found myself back up in P7 here. But we've got Captain Mclaren trying to have a look through there as I make a small mistake, and that's going to be easy as pie for him to go through into P7 there of the race. So, you know, very, very well done to him. And down, unfortunately, to P8 I go, is now we've got Rai CX there trying to have a look back down my inside there. He was actually the guy that made a bit of a mistake there, and unfortunately for me, he's able to get back through there. I tried to go for a bit of a switchback move on him, but unfortunately he's just going to be able to defend, you know, with that extra power. There's going to be nothing I can do about that. But down on the final couple of corners of the race there, P9 was all I was able to hold on to, unfortunately, there in the end. But still, very, very happy with that result, considering the ballast I was running there, guys. But that has been the end of the first race of the season there. The first 3 races of the season there. Hopefully, you know, if you're new, you have enjoyed this British touring car action. You know, I'm always trying to look for different series to enter, and hopefully you guys do enjoy the race as well. But as I said, do not forget to like, subscribe if you're new around here, if you're interested in more. And I will see you guys next time for a brand new video.